Well, for more on the Glasgow Climate Pact, we're now joined by Sabaa Khan with the David Suzuki Foundation. She's the Director General for Quebec and Atlantic Canada, also leads the Foundation's climate team. And she joins us right now in Montreal. Ms. Khan, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Listen, I want to begin with your thoughts on this climate pact that was just agreed to. It's not what many activists and some government leaders wanted. I'm wondering what your assessment of this final deal is.
Well, what I saw over the last 2 weeks was the Paris Agreement working according to its architecture. I think we have to remember that when the Paris Agreement was adopted, it was based on this flexibility, this idea that nations would come with their own plans and that, they wouldn't agree to achieve 1.5 in one shot, but that they would recurrently come back and re-enhance their commitments, re-enhance their ambition according to the latest science. For myself, I would say that it is a bit of a disappointment. I expected more after the IPCC report, as well as the International Energy Agency report that came out, pretty squarely saying that we need to stop all new financing of fossil fuel investments. So on one hand, it is, I think it's international legal negotiations as usual, but there was a different dynamic. For the first time, amazing media coverage of this COP over the last 2 weeks, more than we've ever seen in the past. It shows the role that civil society is taking in monitoring these processes, which was also very much, at the heart of the agreement itself when it was founded.
So it seems like you have a mixed review then of what's coming out of COP. Perhaps not what you were hoping for given the reports that you cited, but still something.
Absolutely. And we have to remember that when you have 197 countries coming together to agree upon rules, we're going to get basic rules, not the highest international standards, but a international standard, period. So I think it's, good news that we have finally finished the Paris Rulebook, Article 6 negotiations that were stalled for a very long time. And there is a basic, safeguard, the most critical when it comes to environment and social integrity of carbon markets. Double counting was, addressed. The transfer of credits from the old regime towards the Kyoto regime. Some of those, they're not all going to be transferable. So there are some improvements that have, been locked in. At the same time, I think it was a great devastation for vulnerable nations, for small island developing states, because their demands, the urgency that they conveyed, youth voices, indigenous voices, small island nations, that urgency did not exactly get translated into the final text.
Now, it's been said that the hope is, and you alluded to it yourself, the hope is that despite whatever agreement is agreed to in terms of COP26, that individual countries would perhaps do more to bring the goal up. So that said, what are you hoping to see from Canada now that Canada did make some commitments, re-announcing some goals, including capping off gas and carbon emissions by 2050?
Mm-hmm. I think that Canada made a bold promise during the last electoral platform. The Liberals said that they would introduce a cap on oil and gas emissions. That is something that we need to see delivery on in the next couple of months, within the next year. Also, Canada agreed that it would no longer finance traditional fossil fuel projects abroad. So there's another commitment that we're following. I hope that Canada will join Quebec in joining the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance, because that is the most ambitious alliance to have come out of the conference, on the sidelines of the conference.
So many things that you're going to be looking for going ahead, but what about the possibility of failure here? Are you concerned about failing to meet commitments? Because already, as you know, we've heard from the premiers of both Alberta and Saskatchewan, they raised concerns about a lack of consultation when it came to oil and gas emissions.
Absolutely. Failure is always, a possibility. I do think, though, that the rise that we see in climate law and litigation, there's a lot of, hope that, there's going to be more climate litigation. In the past 3 years, climate law cases have doubled. And so where Paris Agreement, it falls short, we're going to be looking at civil society, keeping the pressure on public decision holders, and also bringing the cases to court. Small island nations, a group of them, are actually establishing a commission to establish what are states' obligations when it comes to climate change. So there is a flurry of activity happening. There's also WTO ministerial coming up. Trade has a big part to play in this. And what I'm hoping is to see all the environment ministers and climate change ministers come back to their countries and infuse this momentum into the rest of the cabinet.
Sabaa Khan, thank you for this. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.